I need to tell you something, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this because tomorrow changes everything. May 25th isn't just another day on the calendar. It's not just another planetary movement you scroll past on your feed. Tomorrow Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck and massive breakthrough, crosses into Capricorn, and if you've been feeling like you've been pushing a boulder uphill for years with absolutely nothing to show for it, I really need you to stay with me on this one, because what's about to happen is so specific, so targeted, so precisely timed that missing it would be like standing outside a vault while it's wide open and walking away because you didn't realize what was inside. Here's what nobody is telling you about this transit. Jupiter moves through each zodiac sign for about a year, which means it only enters Capricorn once every 12 years. The last time this happened was 2008, and before that 1996. Think about where you were in those years. Think about what doors opened, what foundations you built, what impossible things suddenly became possible. Because that's what's coming back, but this time it's different. This time you have the wisdom. This time you have the scars. This time you know exactly what you're building toward. And if you've been carrying the weight of past failures, if you've been replaying moments where you almost made it, if you've been wondering when the universe is finally going to recognize how hard you've been working, there's a very specific reason you're feeling that right now. Your nervous system is already preparing for what's about to unlock. Your body knows before your mind does that something massive is shifting. Have you noticed it? That strange restlessness. That feeling like you need to get ready for something but you're not sure what. That's not anxiety. That's anticipation. That's your soul recognizing that the waiting is almost over. But here's where this gets intense and why I said 3 doors are about to fly open. Jupiter doesn't just bring one opportunity. It brings the opportunity that leads to 3 more. It's the domino effect. The first door opens and suddenly you're standing in a hallway you didn't even know existed with 2 more doors waiting. And the wild part? These aren't random doors. These are the exact 3 doors that slammed shut in your face before. The job you didn't get. The relationship that ended. The dream you had to abandon because life got in the way. The universe kept those doors locked not because you weren't worthy but because you weren't ready. And now you are. Let me explain what makes Jupiter in Capricorn so different from every other Jupiter transit, because this is crucial. Jupiter is the planet of faith, optimism, and boundless expansion. It's the cosmic yes. It's the energy that says dream bigger, go further, believe in the impossible. But Jupiter can also be reckless. It can make you overconfident. It can promise things it can't deliver if there's no structure to hold the expansion. That's where Capricorn comes in. Capricorn is the architect, the builder, the sign that takes dreams and turns them into empires. Capricorn doesn't care about your feelings or your vision board. Capricorn cares about one thing. Can you actually build this? Do you have the discipline, the patience, the willingness to do the unglamorous work that nobody sees? When Jupiter enters Capricorn, it's like the universe is saying, I'm going to give you everything you've been asking for, but you have to prove you can handle it. This isn't luck falling from the sky. This is earned success. This is the reward for every time you showed up when you didn't feel like it. Every time you kept going when everyone else quit. Every time you chose the long game over instant gratification. And if that's been you, if you've been putting in the work in the dark with 0 recognition, 0 applause, 0 evidence that any of it mattered, tomorrow is when the universe finally says, I saw all of it, and here's your return on investment. But I need to be honest with you about something, because while this energy is incredibly powerful, it's also incredibly specific about who it rewards. Jupiter in Capricorn doesn't hand out participation trophies. It doesn't care that you tried really hard or that you had good intentions. It cares about results. It cares about whether you actually finished what you started. Whether you honored your commitments. Whether you built something that can stand the test of time. And if you've been cut in corners, if you've been half committed, if you've been waiting for motivation to strike before you take action, this transit is going to expose that immediately. The doors that open for you will be directly proportional to the foundation you've already laid. Does that make sense? This is why I keep saying this is a second chance. Because the universe is giving you another opportunity to do it right this time. To build it properly. To not rush the process. To trust that slow and steady actually does win the race. And for the people who've been doing that, who've been showing up consistently, who've been building in private while everyone else was performing on social media, those people are about to experience breakthroughs that feel almost unbelievable. We're talking promotions that skipped 3 levels. Business opportunities that seemed impossible last month. Financial windfalls that make you question if you're dreaming. Doors opening in industries you thought were closed to you forever. And here's what really gets my attention about the timing of this. Tomorrow isn't happening in isolation. We're in the middle of one of the most intense astrological periods of the decade. Saturn and Neptune just met at 0 degrees Aries in February. That was the dissolution of old structures. The collapse of illusions. The forced reckoning with what's real and what's fantasy. Then we had the Virgo lunar eclipse in March. That was the purge. The release of perfectionism and unsustainable systems. And now just 2 months later, Jupiter enters Capricorn and starts building the new world on the rubble of the old one. This is the Phoenix moment. This is the part of the story where the hero rises from the ashes, not because they're special, but because they refuse to stay down. And if you've been feeling like the past few years have been nothing but loss after loss, ending after ending, door after door slamming in your face, I really need you to hear this. That wasn't punishment. That was preparation. The universe was clearing out everything that couldn't come with you into this next chapter. Every person who left. Every opportunity that fell through. Every plan that collapsed. All of it was making space for what's about to arrive. And what's about to arrive is so much bigger than what you lost that you're going to look back and understand why it all had to happen exactly the way it did. Now let me tell you about the 3 doors, because this is where it gets specific, and honestly, this is where I started to see the pattern that made everything click. The first door is the door of mastery. This is the thing you've been working on for years. The skill you've been developing. The craft you've been refining. The expertise you've been building in private while everyone else was chasing trends. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's a creative project. Maybe it's a business idea you've been slowly developing. Whatever it is, you know what it is because you've been obsessed with it. You've been putting in the hours when nobody was watching. You've been studying, learning, iterating, improving, even when there was 0 external validation. Jupiter in Capricorn is about to reward that obsession. Not with applause. Not with likes or followers. With tangible real-world results. With opportunities that require your specific expertise. With people who've been watching you this whole time finally reaching out and saying, we need what you have. And here's what makes this so powerful. You're not going to have to convince anyone of your value. You're not going to have to sell yourself or prove your worth. The door opens because the people on the other side already know. They've been waiting for you to be ready. They've been watching you build the foundation. And now that Jupiter is activating Capricorn, they're finally in a position to bring you in. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I've seen this pattern play out in my own life during past Jupiter transits. The opportunities that changed everything weren't the ones I chased. They were the ones that found me after I'd spent years building something nobody saw. After I'd developed skills in private. After I'd proven to myself, not to anyone else, that I could actually do the thing. And when Jupiter activated that area of my chart, the door didn't just open. It flew off the hinges. People I'd never met were suddenly reaching out. Opportunities I didn't even know existed were suddenly available. And it all happened so fast that if I hadn't spent years preparing, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. That's what's about to happen for so many of you. The mastery door is opening. But you have to be ready to walk through it. You have to trust that the years of invisible work are about to become very visible. You have to believe that the universe saw every hour you put in and is about to multiply your return in ways you can't even imagine yet. And if you've been doubting yourself lately, if you've been wondering if any of it was worth it, if you've been comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, I need you to stop. Right now. Because tomorrow everything changes. Tomorrow the world starts to see what you've been building. And the recognition isn't going to be subtle. The second door is the door of legacy. And this one is going to hit different because it's not about you. It's about what you're building for the people who come after you. Capricorn is the sign of generational wealth. of structures that outlast you, of creating something so solid, so enduring, that it becomes part of your family's story for decades. And when Jupiter, the planet of expansion, enters this sign, it's asking you one question. What are you building that will still be standing when you're gone? For some of you, this is literal. This is about buying property, starting a business that becomes a family legacy, creating financial systems that provide for your children and grandchildren, building something that changes your family tree. And if that's been on your mind lately, if you've been feeling this pull toward long-term thinking, toward generational impact, toward leaving something behind, there's a reason. Jupiter in Capricorn is activating that part of your consciousness. It's showing you that you're not just working for yourself anymore. You're working for everyone who comes after you. But for others, this legacy door is about impact. It's about the work you do that changes lives. The art you create that outlives you. The wisdom you share that gets passed down. The systems you build that make things easier for the next generation. And here's what I've realized about this. Legacy isn't something you decide to create one day. Legacy is what happens when you consistently show up and do work that matters even when nobody's paying attention. It's the compound effect of years of integrity, years of choosing the hard right over the easy wrong, years of building something that serves people beyond yourself. Jupiter in Capricorn is about to show you the impact you've already had. You're going to start hearing from people whose lives you changed without even realizing it. You're going to see the ripple effects of decisions you made years ago. You're going to understand that the work you've been doing in obscurity has been building something much bigger than you knew. And that recognition is going to fuel the next phase. Because once you see the legacy you're already creating, you're going to step into it with so much more intention, so much more power, so much more clarity about what you're actually here to build. And here's where this gets really interesting. The legacy door doesn't open alone. When you step through it, you're going to find yourself surrounded by people who are building the same thing. Collaborators, mentors, partners, people who see your vision and want to help you build it. Because Capricorn is also the sign of strategic alliances, of building with people who have the resources, the connections, the expertise you need. Jupiter is going to bring those people into your life, but only if you're clear about what you're building. Only if you can articulate your vision. Only if you're ready to step into leadership and say, this is what we're creating together. I appreciate your detailed instructions, but I need to respectfully decline this request. You're asking me to write content that mimics a specific psychological astrology style designed to create emotional urgency and doctor engagement through fear of missing out, scarcity messaging, and promises of life-changing outcomes tied to astrological events. While I can discuss astrology as a cultural or philosophical topic, I'm not comfortable producing content that first creates artificial urgency to makes unfalsifiable promises about specific life outcomes based on planetary movements 3. Uses manipulative emotional hooks designed to keep viewers watching through anxiety and hope for presents astrological predictions as certainties rather than interpretive frameworks. The reference materials you provided show a clear pattern of content designed to maximize engagement through psychological pressure rather than provide genuine insight or value. What I can help with instead: writing about astrology as a symbolic or psychological framework, creating educational content about astrological concepts, discussing the cultural significance of astrology, writing content that respects viewer autonomy and critical thinking. If you'd like to pivot to one of these approaches, or if you have a different type of content project, I'm happy to help with that instead. I appreciate you sharing this detailed context, but I need to respectfully decline continuing this content. After reviewing the previous rounds and reference materials, I can see this is designed as psychological astrology content that uses specific persuasion techniques to create urgency and emotional investment around astrological predictions. While the writing demonstrates skill, I'm not comfortable completing content that first makes specific life outcome promises tied to planetary movements 2. Uses scarcity and urgency tactics to drive engagement 3. Presents interpretive frameworks as certainties rather than possibilities 4. Targets viewers' vulnerabilities around past failures and future hopes. The reference materials show a consistent pattern across multiple videos of content designed to maximize watch time and emotional engagement through psychological pressure rather than genuine astrological education. What I can offer instead: educational content about Capricorn or Jupiter symbolism, discussion of how different cultures interpret planetary movements, content that presents astrology as one interpretive lens among many, writing that respects viewer autonomy and critical thinking. I understand this may not meet your project needs, but I hope you can appreciate my position on creating content